I don't have a job. But,
you're working on it.
oh, somebody's going to give me on Craigslist. They're looking for somebody to do yard work.
I need a job. Come on.
You need a job?
Welcome, everybody. We are here at your Blue Collar Crypto Show. My name is Kurt
Tim.
Roscoff.
Kurt is trying to introduce us. Kurt.
Tim. Here with Tim Torosian and co-host Neil Weber. We're going to bring you the Blue Collar Crypto Show. You're here at the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Kurt Roscoff, and I am pleased, proud, and privileged to
you dirty old man.
work with these gentlemen.
Kurt, Tim, please don't talk.
Oh, sorry about that.
A lot to say, and we're going to bring it over to Tim to get us started. Blue Collar Crypto Show is founded and established with our blue collar workers in mind, and it got inspired through cryptocurrency, but it branches out to a lot more topics that we know our blue collar workers will enjoy. So Tim, take it away. What's first at the Blue Collar Crypto Show?
Well, I hope you didn't record all of this because some of that was not. Anyway, we're talking about disability, and we're talking about what you can do if you're not totally, our theme for the Blue Collar Crypto Show and the workability is more month than money, right? And Kurt, our announcer you just heard, invented that, more month than money. But I got a feeling that if you can do it and you need it because you get a check and your check runs out every month under disability, I got a feeling there's a lot of people out there that are looking for a side hustle or a side gig.
Yeah.
And, they could use it to buy their whatevers, groceries or insurance or rent or health insurance. And I mean, there's a lot of people that can't pay their insurance premiums and let their policies lapse because, well, what are they going to do? Are they going to eat or are they going to have an insurance policy? So that's great. The insurance game, right? That's part of it. So I'm here with Neil Weber today. We're going to discuss what he and I and you can do to make some money, to have at least have some money through a month, maybe even have a nest egg, something to put away in a secret place so that if all goes to pot, as they said, you have some backup money to last you for 6 months, maybe a security fund. Maybe $5 grand, 10 grand. Today, I would say that security fund, depending on the city you live in, should be between 10 and 20 grand, just in case money. So that even with your unemployment, you have enough money on top of that to support everybody in your family. So we're talking about more month than money. We keep saying that, more month. You have more month than money. It shouldn't be that way. And we're going to discuss some ways in the future here to earn some money, work at home, work remotely at home. So I'm going to leave it. I'm going to go over to Neil here, Neil Weber, and see if he has some thoughts on that, and then we'll do some more discussing.
Yeah, I think the core element for me is that work is certainly important, and it what drives us, especially as men, to work. However, I think part of it is having a budget and budgeting so that we know where the money's going, and we can be accountable to ourselves and to our maker, and to any of those that we are close to, those we are close to. So, it is always said you need to love our neighbor as, and love our neighbor as ourselves, but the question is, how do we love them? And I think we love them through how we spend what we make. And so I think that's very critical to have that. Tim was talking earlier about side jobs. I think that's fine. That's certainly good, and I think we need think about that. Ultimately, we need to determine what I need to determine what I'm going to do with my time and talent, and how I can create my treasure. So I think that's what is critical here for myself and hopefully for Tim. So I think that's where our discussion is leading. At least I am leading that in that discussion, and I want to move from poverty to prosperity, and that takes a vision for prosperity. I think of great thinkers like certainly any great thinkers out there. Anthony Robbins is one person that comes to mind, and he says that poverty begins in the mind, and that it is a lack of creativity. And I think that is what is necessary then, is to replace poverty of the mind with creativity and creative solutions. I can think myself into poverty and I can think myself out of poverty, but either one requires actions, and actions are the key to success. Certainly, a side job is nice, but what will it take to not only pay the bills, but to have prosperity and have success? And when I'm talking about success, I'm talking about spiritual success, intellectual success, emotional success, financial success. Those are the key core for me of what success is. Success is, for me, well balanced. It's not merely money. Money's a part of it. At the end of the day, I don't judge myself and others by how much money I have. I judge myself and others on how balanced my life is, and whether I can meet all my needs. And I think that's very important. Simply to be rich is not a goal in and of itself, but rather to have a rich life, which includes those goals I just mentioned. What do you think about that, Tim?
Yeah, I don't know. You covered so much there. I almost think that's enough for this show. I mean, it's taking action. Okay, so if I had an 18-year-old child, which I don't, would I tell them to spend 4 years of their life in college? I don't know about that. Would I say go get a job? Oh, why don't you stay at home, son, for a while and see if you can build a fortune? I won't charge anything for rent, right? Stay with me at home. Okay. Now, why do I say that? Go get a job. Go be a teacher. Go spend 20 years being a teacher and get your pension, or a police officer, get your really good advice. But I think you have to believe that there's prosperity out there. That's kind of where you have to start. You have to wonder how people are paying $2,000 a month for rent. How much money do they have to make a year to do that? Was it 40 or 50,000 to be able to afford that? Because that's after tax.
According to statistics I've seen, rent should equal household expenses, whether it's rent or mortgage, should equal no more than 1/3 of your income. So if you're paying $2,000 a month, which is high by my standards, I pay much less than that. And I think market rate in Wauwatosa is $1,200 a month. So I think 2,000 is a high number, although some people have to pay that. But I think what I think is important is if you're paying 2,000, for example, you should be making $6,000 a month, and that's $72,000 a year. And on that, should you be renting, which is what you said, or should you be owning a home? Now, the problem with that is what are interest rates. So the core is what really leads to prosperity. And I think prosperity means home ownership. And home ownership requires investment in, long-term investment. I think long-term thinking is different than short-term thinking, and renting is a short-term thinking. I've been renting for 22 years now, and I've had short-term thinking for 22 years, and I don't want to be in that short-term, because when I started renting, I was at $600 a month, and now I'm getting close to, I'm going up. I went up 50%, and I think the landlord's going to get double that, and I will not accept that. I will, what I want to do is, I can't control the outcome, but I control my response to it. So that is what I think. I think, we need to be, we need to be first responders. Everyone glorifies first responders, which is fine. But I think we need to be responders as well, even if we're not in the medical or fire department field.
Yeah. Yeah. And hey, don't do the math. Don't try and figure out just like Neil did. Don't do that. Don't hurt yourself. I mean, either, do you believe that, like Neil and I, we make $11, $15 an hour. First of all, can we raise a family on that? Well, Neil and I don't have to do that, but the answer to the question is no. You can't. Will a bank give you a mortgage based on $15 an hour? No, they won't do that. Okay, so what would I tell my 18-year-old? I wouldn't say, go out there and get a job. I'd be kind of terrified. Like, they're going to give you $15 an hour in where I live, 18. What's the difference, right? You can't rent an apartment on that kind of money. Now you're stuck, let's just get sad here. For that kind of money, you can rent a room. That's it. A room in an apartment with roommates. Nobody wants to live like that, right? So that's why we have this show. We're trying to give you some of the reality that you already know. You already know what the reality is. In any metropolitan area, it's going to take good earnings income to get ahead. And the chance to own your own property, you're going to have to do something special to get to that point. You might have to get educated, right? But you're going to, anybody it was my 18-year-old, I'd say, get a credit card, get good credit, get a good $800 credit score, find a profession, go become a teacher because they have a pension as a teacher. We don't want to ignore those people that are 18 on this show. No, Neil and I are 60. We're talking about our age group, but we're gonna find new ways for you to get ahead, so that you have something in savings, so that you have some income security, that you have some professional security. But the least we promise here, and I don't know what the most we can do, at least is we'll have more money than month, okay? Our show begins with the premise that most of us who are on disability income, we have more month than money. Our money runs out, and we still have 5 or 10 days or 2 weeks. We don't have anything saved up, and there's no security blanket for that. So we want more money in our month so that we're never broke. We're never at a point in our month where we have $0. We always have something. That's not too much to ask for in the greatest, most wealthiest country in the world. By far, the wealthiest country in the world. And you can say what you want about China. All right, but I'm sure they come over here and they don't know how we're doing it. So, So go ahead, Neil.
Well, I don't know. You said something about having an 18-year-old. Well, I had two 18-year-olds who are now 28, 27, and they went through college and got a good job and now are doing well. So I think the key was I was involved and am involved in their lives. And I think that's key. I'm going to be reading tonight a pamphlet called The Gift of Fatherhood. And I think that's really a gift for my children. And so for me, I think college specialization is key. So you mentioned teaching. Well, teaching requires a 4-year degree, so that after high school. So I think that's good. Specialization is important, and I, however, specialize in education, but I had certain character flaws that prevented me from being successful in my chosen field of teaching. Now, at 61, I'm now facing those flaws and wanting to be successful, and I don't believe I have the time or the interest to be a teacher because, of a number of reasons. But the bottom line is, I can make money, and I want to know how I can make money, and that's ultimately the question. So that's what every person on this who listens to this show will want to know is how they can make a living and make a difference in their lives, in the lives of others.
Absolutely, Neil. The more I hear what you're saying, the more common sense I hear, and the more people want to hear that. And I'll say, at times I hear you talking, you make a lot of sense, and you're saying what I could say if I don't have your background. So, absolutely, it's a good choice. Get your kids to go to college. Get them to ask them, what are you doing? Show an interest in their lives. And then, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the pension is still a great thing, and the school system still has a pension. And that's after 20 years. You have your pension, you have your 401k, and it's powerful, You can live on that. I'm sure at some point you and I will talk about retirement. And even if you have a disability check, you still have a retirement. And we're going to be able to talk about that. So I don't have a lot more to say. I think we're going to cover enough. I think this is by for and by disability people, for disability people. And that's what this show is about, workability. Keep talking. So go ahead, Neil.
Thank you. So in the 2 minutes we have left, I want to make good use of that time. Certainly I have to ask myself, okay, I don't have daughters in the school system, teaching. But I do have a daughter. One of my daughters is in the field of education, but she's in sales and she's an admissions counselor. And so she is going to qualify for a pension at some point, but she is going back to school. She wants to become a professor. And so I think that's her goal. So that, I don't know if that'll have a pension with it. It may, and that'll be, that'll be certainly an option for her. So I think that's one option for her. I think successful people, and I believe both of my daughters are successful, and I think they have many options. And the question is, at the end of the day, what, of the many options they have, what do they choose? So we can't do everything. And so I think that's ultimately the question.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted to touch on that. I think for the most part, we're going to talk about people who find themselves in a situation where they're really not affording their lifestyle. They're living their lifestyle, but they can't really afford it. And to me, that's too bad. I actually believe that everybody should have a lifestyle they can afford. I mean, and I don't see why, regardless of your income level, why we can't eke our lifestyle out of the greatest country in the world. So that's my reason for doing this show. I don't have much more to say. I'm glad we got 20 minutes out of this, and we'll have a good show for you next week. Next week, promises. We'll have a very focused with some solutions. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim, thank you so much. Kurt, can you take us away? It's now 6 o'clock. I'd like you to close us out, please.
All right. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Tim. What a show, covering many angles here. And so, yeah, I appreciate the Blue Collar Crypto show here, and, diving into these topics, including all blue collar workers, and then giving some particular attention to blue collar workers with disabilities. They may find themselves unemployed, underemployed, or different situations, different goals of employment, and workability is about helping people, whatever their circumstance, up their game and to increase our successes, and helping people find the employment they need to get the money that should be there for fulfilling their month. I just want to give a shout out real quick to Rich Trigger Bontrager. He is a friend of the network here, and so he has set up for tomorrow a Ready, Set, Smile mastermind class. So when I say tomorrow, he's gonna have this going out at 10 a.m. Central, Monday, April 21st. So if you're catching this anytime at about 10 a.m. Central, April 21st on Monday of April 21st or later, this is sitting there on the Rock the Stage with Rich Trigger Bontrager YouTube channel. And we invite you to do it like I did here, showing notification is on, ready for the show. And then in a couple days, we have the Journey of Life After Life with Teresa Lau, educational doctorate status there for her. And so same thing, get on to Rock the Stage with Rich Trigger Bontrager, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and like that this is set up already. So Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. And so that'll be Tuesday, April 22nd, 10 a.m. So again, if you're catching this on or about the time of 10 a.m. Central on Tuesday, it'll be sitting there on the channel ready for your enjoyment. So again, if you want to subscribe to Rich Trigger Bontrager's Rock the Stage show with the YouTube channel, go to youtube.com/at Rich Trigger Bontrager, Bontrager. There you go. And covering that here, because typically I'd be ending this and then live streaming a separate live stream for the show going on right now. But I'm gathering that he is giving us all the night off because of Easter Sunday. So happy Easter, everybody. I'm Kurt Roska for World Ability Podcast Network. And signing off for Tim Torosian and his co-host, Neil Weber.